Hey ladies and gentlemen, Richard Kenobi here, and I am back for another Death Battle review, and today we have Yang versus Tifa. Now, before I start, I might as well just get this joke out of the way right now. Expect the rage from the Final Fantasy VII fans in 3, 2, 1! Tifa lost. Yang won. So, can y'all do me, so for those of you naysayers who said, oh, Yang couldn't win, Yang couldn't do this, Yang couldn't do that, can y'all do me a favor and just pick up the phone? Because we just called it. Now, I'm not gonna throw salt in the wounds, I'm not one of those YouTubers, but, yeah. So, this was probably the most tense death battle I've ever seen, you know, between the fans. It was... But honestly, if y'all can believe this, this fight was not split down the middle. Because during the live stream, they put up a poll asking the fans who would win. Like, who do they think would win? And over 55,000 people voted. And they all, 70% voted for Yang, and 30% voted for Tifa. Yang won by a landslide. So, yeah, there you go. But this was intense. I really did like it, you know. And, of course, I said Yang would win. And now, before you Final Fantasy VII Hurt fans decide to click that dislike button, hear me out. Because I am a Final Fantasy VII fan. You know, I'm not a hardcore Final Fantasy VII fan, but I am a fan, you know. You know, I said Tifa would put up a decent fight, and she did. You know, she really did. There was a moment where she almost did win, but she just did not. She just ran out. She used up all of her limit breaks, and she needed time to recharge, and she made the unmistakable mistake. She touched Yang's hair, and that pretty much was it. You know... So, yeah, honestly, this really was a great fight, aside from people being hurt. But, hey, like I said, the fight was great. I loved it. I really, really did love it, you know. And big props. First of all, big props to Barbara Dinkelman and Tia Barnett. Ladies, if you are watching this, thank you. Just thank you both. Especially Barbara, because, you know, just hearing Yang interact or, you know, banter with Tifa was probably the best thing ever. You know, the voice acting and the animation were the main two things I loved about this fight, and the choreography. Now, for those of, some of you may not know this, but there's one person you need to thank if you want to think, because a lot of people keep thinking that, oh, Rooster Teeth helped out with this animation, or this animation doesn't look as good as Rooster Teeth. Well, guys, that's because this fight was done by their 3D animator, Tori. Tori is an amazing animator. He really is. And for those of you who didn't know, Tori was actually taught by Monty. Monty taught him how to animate. You know, and Tori's been animating Death Battle, he's been doing the 3D animation since last year. His first 3D animated fight was RoboCop vs. Terminator, and he had potential. Monty helped him improve over time. He was his idol, he was his friend, you know, and honestly, Tori tweeted that this was his last chance, this was the last chance he had to, you know, get this fight perfect. Because he wanted this fight to be perfect, he wanted this to be the last time he would have to follow in his idol's footsteps. And he did an amazing job, you know, really he did. You know, this fight looked amazing. You know, I can understand, Tifa looked okay, but honestly, you grow into it. But Yang looked perfect, you know, really did. He did an amazing job with the animation and the motion capture, you know, so big props to Tori. And fun fact, after the fight, during the live show, a fan tweeted him and said that this was the greatest fight ever. Monty Ohm would be so proud of how Tori animated this fight. He almost cried. That speaks for itself. So yeah, huge props to Tori. You know, he did an amazing job. Honestly, he couldn't have chosen the better 3D fight to animate, because this was. And now, if you saw my last video, this is now my absolute favorite death battle of the year. Hands down, hands favorite. I loved it. You know, really, really great. You know, the animation, the choreography, the voice acting, the research, all of it was just perfect. Now, honestly, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, yeah, so for those of you saying, oh, the animation's not as good, cut Tori a break, guys, because literally, he did his best. And honestly, he got it right with Yang, because this fight looks like, this fight was a tribute to, not only, Dead Fantasy, which is a series Montiel created, with is a Final Fantasy spinoff he created. Well, I wouldn't say spinoff, you know, but also it was a tribute to the Yellow trailer. So it was two things that Monty created coming together. So there you go. There's your two Easter eggs right there. And let's see. Of course, there's the Volume 3 Easter egg. There's that. Let's see, what else was there? What else was there? Oh yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why they chose Yang versus Tifa, because of what I just said, because of not only he created Ruby, but also of how he created this, series called Dead Fantasy, which, you know, takes place after Final Fantasy VII, and it's an amazing series. I can't even, you know, describe it. Just go check it out, you know, so big props to them. And like I said, Tori, if you are watching this, you did great. So, yeah. This is now beat Wolverine versus Raiden. I love this fight, I really did. You know, I love the way it was well acted. It was probably the best acted, I would want to say. This and Wolverine versus Raiden. You know, well, and Solid Snake versus Sam Fisher, and Iron Man versus Lex Luthor, and of course, Goku versus Superman 2. But this one I personally love. Now that I got that out of the way, a lot of you are probably going to be asking yourselves, okay, how did Tifa lose? Like, what would have changed if Tifa had won? There was no way she could have won, guys. I'm sorry, I hate to be that guy, but there just wasn't. Because I think one of my newer subscribers, Dino Dream, sorry man, 2K26, he pointed out that, you know, it would have been hard for them to choose a specific version, because a lot of people saying they nerfed Tifa, when no, that's the opposite of what they did. They chose a balanced version of Tifa, because it's hard to try and, you know, find a, it's really, really hard with, to use an RPG character, because you have to use something that the fans can agree with. You know, so yes, they obviously did their research, so they decided to give her ice and fire materia, because that's what she mainly used, even though, you know, they didn't give her any other kind of materia, because those are based on the gamer's influence, not the character's influence. So yeah, they chose the balanced version of Tifa, which honestly, yeah, and Tifa was not nerfed. Tifa almost won. She did. She almost won. But unfortunately, like they said, Yang's aura is what won her this fight, aside from her semblance. Because, let's put it like this. For those of you saying that Tifa was able to survive a supernova, you're wrong. She didn't. Because that's false. Because, one, if that was in the game, honestly, I think the player would be dead, because Tifa, when she debuted, she was the character with the lowest health, the lowest dexterity, and the lower constitution. But she was a strong offensive competitor, I'll give her that. And in her movies, you know, you could sort of see that in there, but she was stronger. And they even said she was naturally stronger than Yang and more experienced. But it just didn't matter, because, I mean, Tifa is not that durable. Tifa is, that's what I think Cloud beats her in, because she may be stronger than Cloud, but Cloud is more durable than her. And now, if we're going off this, Yang is more durable than Cloud. Because, you know, Yang was able to survive 1,400 tons of pressure through a concrete cylinder that is a pillar that is strong enough to hold up a bridge. And she was able to survive 50 tons at terminal velocity. So, if she could take all of that, because Yang is a damn tank. There was absolutely no doubt that her aura would give her this win, because, you know, it didn't matter what Tifa did differently, because at the end of the day, Yang would be able to hold on. Yang's aura, you know, was the perfect, was her perfect trump card to help her survive Tifa's attacks. Because if this was anyone else, Tifa would have won easily. But if this is Yang, then sorry, Yang won. Fair and square. And honestly, I can understand why people were mad with Link versus Cloud, because yes, they used an older version of Cloud. You know, they didn't use the updated version by that time, but they chose to, you know, include some of those elements. You know, so it wasn't completely hacked or anything. This fight was completely awesome. That's just it. It was awesome, it was well acted, it was well paced, and honestly, everything else was great about it. And like I said, I'm sorry if I apologize to Final Fantasy VII fans who are disappointed, because I understand if you're upset that Tifa lost, because Tifa is a great character. She's a character that, honestly, I think that's why she makes a connection with everyone who's a fan of Final Fantasy VII. But, you know, Yang's speed, Yang's durability, and Yang's semblance and power were just leagues above Tifa at the end of the day, but she was able to at least match her blow for blow. So be happy, guys, that, hey, she almost did get a win, but almost isn't good enough. But, hey, you know, this was a great fight. I'm really excited to see what the next death battle is going to be later today, and of course, I'll let you guys know. So, yeah, guys, apologies again to Final Fantasy VII fans. I know you're still upset, but hey, you know, try and, you know, not take it too seriously. Who am I kidding? Y'all probably will. But, yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this review, then please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And until then, guys, kick off today with the Yang for Volume 3. This is Richard Kenobi saying, may the Force be with you. Alright, guys.